Hello, thanks for stopping by. This is Super Off-Road for the NES, or Ivan Iron Man Stewart's Super Off-Road. I think that's an excessively long name for a game, but here we are. The arcade version was released back in 1989, and this NES version followed in 1990 by TradeWest. I picked this up a few weeks ago for just under $10. I popped it in, and I don't think I've ever played this before in the NES, and I have to say, I really liked it. I have played the arcade version before. Something I remember having multiple steering wheels. It was a stand-up cabinet. But the controls felt really splashy. The steering wheels spun all the way around, I believe. I was not good at this in the arcade. Not at all. The NES controller, I think it works just fine here. No complaints out of me. At its most basic, it's a one-screen racing game, and the goal is to race a truck and make it to the end of the season with as much money as possible. Although it doesn't say it in the manual, there are apparently 99 levels. We get 8 different tracks in 12 different configurations. Some of these are going to be tracks that you run in reverse. The tracks are just a basic series of turns, and sometimes the track is going to cross over itself. I think with only one screen to work with and no background scrolling, they make this work just fine. A race is only going to take a few minutes, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe, and based on how you place, you're going to receive money that can be used to buy upgrades for your truck. We don't get a ton of upgrades, but you can certainly get better handling and speed like you'd hope, or at least that's what I would hope. You can also buy upgraded tires, shocks, acceleration, top speed, and you can also get nitro boosts. You get a total of 3 lives, and if you come in 4th place, you're going to lose a life. If you come in 1st place, you're going to gain a life to a maximum of 3. I wish you could get more than 3, but it is what it is. If you lose all your lives, you can continue the game, but you can only do that up until a certain level. I think it's level 20. After this, you can't continue. The first 14 levels are considered the qualifying rounds, and the actual tournament starts on race number 15. And it's not that hard to get to the tournament levels, really. Or, at least not for me. I started playing this without even reading the manual, and I was a complete newbie to this game. I made it 23 levels before the game ended. So, the game feels fairly accessible. At least in the first bunch of levels. During the races, you're going to have to avoid obstacles. You got mud holes, puddles, and of course, other cars. They're all going to slow you down a little bit, and you can use nitros in the mix to jump past other vehicles. I adjust to using them after a while. You get used to them, I guess, but there are definitely spots in the race where, dropping a nitro isn't going to do much good. But in some places, it really can help you put some serious distance on the next guy. For me, I seem to use nitros on the flatter areas because they'll get you out ahead a little further and you extend a lead. Using them in a puddle will give you a boost, of course, but it does seem to taper off quickly. But of course, depending on what lap you're on and how far back you are, you might be forced to use them just to try and place. After you end a race, you're going to see a view of podiums, and they're models hanging off of the racers. I guess that's not too outrageous a sign for the late 1980s. Anyway, hopefully you're going to place, and you'll get funds to upgrade your vehicle. Personally, I don't care so much about buying nitro until I've upgraded the other areas. I'm really big into making sure I have better handling as soon as possible. It's going to make turns and obstacles much easier to navigate. The tracks change, of course, and you do get some variety in this regard, but we don't get any real environment changes. It's just a different path to race. It always kind of looks the same. All the tracks for the most part. The colors of the mud never change, and we get no trees, no mountains, no scrolling. So it's a very limited color palette. First I thought this might benefit from some changes, but I guess it is off-road racing, and it's not a thing where I am. I'm pretty sure it's all about the dirt tracks anyway, so the fact that it's a simple color scheme, I guess that makes sense. It's also important to know that the races are going to end as soon as the person in first place crosses the finish line, which will be 4 laps. So there are going to be times when, if you're not in the lead, you're not racing all of a sudden to be in first, you're doing your best to not be in last. I also find in some of the races, one of the competitors will just get out in front early on, and they'll just race like gangbusters, and you won't be able to catch them. Sometimes you just have to give up catching that leader. Overall, I have to say this was an enjoyable racing game. I was really surprised. I was surprised it was this good at under $10, first of all. But it's also one of the few NES games that you can play with 4 players at once. If you have a 4-score adapter, of course, and 4 controllers. I've been playing this one solo, but I can easily see this one being fun if you're playing with friends. Absolutely. Well, that's all I have today for Super Off-Road for the NES. Thanks for stopping by for a look, and hope to catch you on another video.